Do you find your brain getting scrambled when it comes to prioritizing a task list? Do you start something only to find yourself getting distracted and 2 hours later you've not completed, you've barely even started the task that you actually tried to set as a priority? Or do you really just not know what to do next? Have no idea what task, what action, what is going to benefit your business the most, so you just don't do it at all? Then you are in the right place, as today we will be discussing the art of prioritization and exactly what you can do to have the biggest impact on your business every single day. I'm Callum Richards, and welcome to the Real Journey podcast. Welcome back to the Real Journey podcast, where I take you through the day to day life of starting, growing, and running your business with actionable steps that you can take along the way and lessons that I am learning in real time as I am growing my very own video editing business. So, today we are speaking on the importance of prioritizing. Exactly what do you need to prioritize every single day to have the biggest impact within your business? Now, it goes unsaid how important learning to prioritize is, because you can do a million tasks a day, but if they are the smallest aspect of your business, you're just not going to move the needle. And that's what it's all about. It's about having high impact actions, things that are going to grow the business or get you more exposure, or even just improve your skill set and improve the business as an overall. So, today we'll be sort of focusing on the daily tasks that you can implement. Again, this will all sort of vary depending on the business model you're going for, but there's certain things that we can all take action on. There's certain pathways, certain methods, and certain techniques that we can all use every single day so that we're finding much more impact. Ultimately, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the smallest little steps that we can do and build upon, that's also going to have the largest amount of reward for us. They're going to bring in the most results. There is absolutely no point in you spending 3 hours on a task that's not even noticeable. It's just not worth it, because you'll do it for so long and have so little impact that you'll actually start to lose that persistence. You'll start to lose that faith. And that's not what we want. We want to keep the faith throughout this journey as high as possible. So on the days where we start to lose it, it's not been tested for weeks or for months. It's a case of, okay, I'm having a bit of a crap day today, but I'll carry on through. Let's go again. I know what I need to do. I know exactly where I need to start, what I need to finish today. And then even some bonus tasks that you can do at the end of the day, some sort of slow work that is still going to have an impact, but it's not a set priority. Those are actually where the big opportunities are made, because that's where you can start reviewing, that's where you can start implementing new tests. And it's always by doing the main crucial things at the very beginning of the day, building upon them. So then come near the end of the day, afternoon, you've done all of the priorities. Now it's just a case of, okay, what else can I improve on? Is there other platforms I can be using? Is there other products I can be supplying? That's where you can start growing even more, because as many people know, the work never stops. It's never a case of you do your task list and then that's it, you're done. You're finished for the day. You can go back to being an entrepreneur tomorrow. It never works like that. There is always more work to be done, and it should be like that. There should always be more work to be done. You should still always enjoy constantly taking action, to constantly getting things completed that you know in a long enough time frame is going to benefit you. And that's what we want to be focusing on today. Because what I noticed when I very first started is you always hear books saying, get your biggest task done first. But the problem is with that is, if it's difficult, if you've got a 9 to 5, if you're not a morning person, trying to do your hardest task first can almost suck all of the energy out of you throughout the day. what I find personally works for me is I'll do the daily tasks that are relatively easy, still have an impact, are still going to see some sort of result or still have some sort of benefit to my business, but it builds my momentum. If I can do 10 tasks in the first hour of being up, and they're only small things, or only small little wins, whether it's posting, creating a short little video or story, sending out some follow-up messages to some prospects that I've been speaking to, even a bit of client work. If I can do those first and build my momentum, I now feel empowered for the rest of the day. I've now got so much energy because I've started winning. Compared to if you've got a big task that's going to take you 4 hours, you could spend 2 hours doing research or 2 hours on that task and not see any improvement, not see any result whatsoever. So then by the time you've spent 2 hours, you're like, well, what have I done with the day? I've just wasted my day. And you start to lose the motivation ultimately. Now I hate using that word because if you want success, motivation isn't what's going to get you there. It is the persistence. But there are still tricks and techniques that you can use every single day to make it easier upon yourself, to make it so I've got those little wins in. Now let's move on to the bigger stuff. And it all depends on how your day is structured. If you are working a 9 to 5 and you have to get up early in the morning, personally, I'd recommend small wins. Then when you get home, you'll still have energy. Don't sort of psy up yourself into thinking that I've not got energy when I get home. You will do, especially if you want it bad enough. But get those little wins done during the day. So then when you get back, it's just the big stuff. It's just the stuff where you can sit, focus, and think, right, I need to zone in on this and get this sorted. Whereas if you start later on in the day, you might want to spend the morning, get the small wins in, have a cup of coffee, maybe do a workout, something like that, and then think, right, I've got 3 hours now free where I can just absolutely zone in on the big task that I've got, whether it's client work, whether it's reaching out to people, whether it's prospecting, whatever you see is a big, big priority for yourself in terms of what's going to have the biggest impact and what's going to take the most amount of time, what needs the biggest amount of your concentration for a set period of time. Have that where it fits in. Have that where you know 100% you've got 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long you're predicting it will take, and always try and get that as close to the exact mark as you can. Because if you give yourself 6 hours for a 1 hour task, it will take 6 hours. And if you give yourself half hour for a 6 hour task, you'll be stressing and the quality will just drop. Try and get it as close to the mark as you can, or just think, right, I've got 3 hours or until this is done, and start working your way from there. So you always want to be focusing on restricting the time you're spending on tasks, but getting it as close to the mark, especially if it's something you've done already. For example, for myself, if I'm making a short video, I know how long it takes me roughly to make it. If I gave myself all day to do it, it would more than likely take me all day. But if I restrict the time it takes me to do it, 9 times out of 10, I get it done beforehand because I don't overthink. I don't sort of faff around and, oh, this doesn't go or this doesn't go. I know exactly what I'm going for and I'm thinking ahead whilst I'm making the video. I know what the hook's going to be. I know what font I'm going to use. I know what the music's going to be as I'm clipping it up. So if you give yourself that time, you'll do it within that time. So 100% you want to be knowing what your priorities are every day and working out, dependent on your day-to-day routine, how it's going to best fit for you. So personally for myself, I'm a video editor and it's a very, very time consuming skill. It can take a lot of time, especially if you're doing long format videos, if you're doing them for certain clients. Some edits can take you multiple days to get sorted to a high enough quality, and you'll always be sort of tinkering around. You'll always be looking at other aspects you can add in, other visuals, other sound effects. There's always more layers of the video that can come on. So time was always going to be my biggest asset, just like it is for most people. So I mainly focused on, okay, at first I need that quality. I need to know that I can make videos that are either going to get views or the client's going to be happy with or that I'm happy with, or showcase a certain aspect or deliver the message. That's what you want to highlight is what is the outcome? What is the outcome of the task that you are doing? Because there's no point in me spending 4 hours on a video and the outcome is it gets 30 views because it's just not worth the time investment. Whereas if I'm trying to showcase my expertise, I can probably do that in half an hour and the video is not going to be all singing, all dancing, lights, full Hollywood works, but it's going to deliver the message. It's going to show that I know what I'm doing, and it's going to at least deliver some degree of competence to anybody that comes across it, or at least some sort of lesson. At least it's going to help somebody. And best of all, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to put in a test in there. I'm going to try a different fun. I'm going to try different music. I'm going to try hooking people in a different way. So you always want to be identifying the outcome. Your tests and areas like that where you don't know what the outcome's going to be exactly. You don't want to invest insane amounts of time. There's absolutely no point in me spending all day on a 30-second clip that I've tested because I've seen it's working for other people and it might not work for me. Because I don't want to say it's a waste. I never think learning and testing is a waste, but it's just not going to have the outcome that I wanted. So you want to know what your key outcome's going to be, what you're gunning for. What I'd also like to touch on with this is because I did video editing, and as I've mentioned, it's very time consuming. I knew that I would have to systemize and streamline my video editing side of the business, as well as other aspects of my business, because it's all well and good me making more content and spending 24 hours a day on more content, but it's not going to grow my business because I'm not speaking to other people. It's not going to grow my network because of the exact same. And it's not necessarily going to make me any better if I'm not focusing on key parts of where I want to improve. So I always try to think of, I want to get the most impactful and the low investment actions done. So reaching out to clients is a massive impact. That is the income. That is how my business grows. That's how my business creates more money. So I don't want to brush that off at the end of the day where it could potentially get missed. I want to put that at the priority first thing in the day, and it's probably a medium investment, especially when I tend to prospect in batches and look at multiple clients whilst I'm in that mind frame and highlight the key areas of improvements for their videos and put that into my outreach. So then when it comes to me actually sending the messages, I've done the hard work. Now I just need to structure the message. Now I just need, sorry, to structure the message. Now I just need to send it. Now I just need to do the follow-ups. So follow-ups for me has always been one of the first tasks I'll do early in the morning on my side. It's always one of the first things that I think, well, sometimes messages get missed. We've all done it. Sometimes people are busy. They might not use that platform. So follow-ups for me was almost like that passive action, but it could have a massive impact because follow-ups have closed me more clients than initial messages because then the initial outreach is done because it shows your persistence. It shows to potential clients and prospects that, oh, he's not just sent me the message and moved on to another 100 people. He wants to work with me. He's following up with me, followed up with me for 4, 5, 6 weeks. He's provided value on his follow-ups. He's used different methods of following up. So I always put that task first because it will have a big, big impact on my business should it go the way that I want it to go. And that's something that you also want to look into. Whereas the video editing, especially when it was my content, for client content, that's a huge impact. That's your reputation. That's how you're making money. So that will always come top of the list, regardless of anything. But for my content personally, it was always I want to be growing the business first and speaking to people and improving my skill first, and then more content can take priority in the sense of I need to be posting every single day, but I'm not going to be investing 3, 4, 5 hours into it unless I've got a big idea of what I want to do. So that's another aspect is it growing or is it maintenance? Because growth is always going to be your biggest. Growth should be your priority until you feel like you've reached the point where you just need to maintain these levels so you can get to the position where you can grow again. And one major problem, and one of the biggest reasons I focus so much on time management and systems and streamlining everything, is because I've actually lost opportunities because I didn't think I had enough time. It was in my sort of last stages building the business. I was speaking to 3 or 4 different prospects, and I almost stopped caring about some of the prospects I was speaking to because I thought, oh, but if I take on all of these clients, I'm not going to have enough time, and if I don't have enough time, I'm going to do terrible work for them all. And it was actually more detrimental to me than anything else, because if I had took all of those clients on or tried to take all of those clients on, and out of the 4 clients I got 2, well, now I'm in a better position because there's more income coming into my business. I'll find time to do more content where I can because there is always time. There is always something, somewhere you can find more time. And at least then I'd have had income coming in where I could have been in a position where I could actually outsource some video editing. I could potentially outsource my own editing because I would put so little time into it. I could outsource it at a low cost, but as long as the content's still being put out, that's not a major impact to me. And then I will make sure the quality is maintained for my clients. But I didn't do that. I actually almost started focusing on two prospects that I really wanted, stopped focusing on two others, and I ended up with, out of four, I ended up with one. So it actually goes to show once your systems are in place, if you do have that spare time, dependent on what your business model is, if you do have that spare time, it's not terrible because you know that that time can be used for additional clients, it can be used for additional outreach, but you always want to use the spare time for something. So right now, if I haven't got as many clients as I'd like right now I could use that spare time to systemize how I'm posting certain bits of content, to systemize how I'm prospecting, to spend a bit more time caring about my podcast and putting in little details that I wouldn't necessarily do every single time, but because the times there I can do it now. So then when you've closed the client or when you're making more money, you're not in a position where, "Oh, I've got no time, I've got no time." You know you can drop certain tasks because they're not a priority. Your client is. So it's always worth filling up your time, but realizing where your priorities are going to be swapped out should you close somebody else or should you get more business in, and then you can look at outsourcing because if you're getting more income, you can outsource them. It's going to be much more beneficial for you on a long term basis. Time is money. Benjamin Franklin. We all know this. We've all heard this. Every film, anything to do with business, any famous entrepreneur, any unfamous entrepreneur. Time is money. Time is the biggest asset, the most finite asset that every single person on the planet has, let alone business, let alone what you do in your free time. Time is your most valuable asset. So it only makes sense for you to use it wisely. It only makes sense for you to optimize it, especially when you start growing and you start realizing that there's actually always work to do. You want to constantly be focusing on how can I make things faster and maintain the quality? How can I streamline systems so I'm not overthinking for 5 minutes about what to write to this client or what to create for this client or shipping this product over to this destination. You want to constantly be looking at those 5 minute tasks that you have to deal with every single day. Can you make them shorter? Can you outsource them? Those longer tasks, especially, you want to be looking at, can I outsource them? Is there somebody that can do them better for a cheaper investment of time? Because there's absolutely no point in you using all of your time across every aspect of your business when there's people out there that can do it better. There's people out there that will get greater results, higher quality. And your big focus is, for example, you're a copywriter. That's your big focus. That's what you should be doing every single day. That's the main task that you're the best at, but you're doing copywriting, then you're creating videos, then you're creating web pages, then you're sending out DMs and all this. You want to be looking at outsourcing because as soon as you're in a financial position to do that, it's going to benefit you a lot more because your time can now be reinvested into much more higher impact areas of your business. So we've all heard time is money. Without a doubt, it's just the biggest asset you're ever going to use in the business world. There's never going to be anything else. You can't buy it back. I think that's the biggest thing. You can't buy it. You can outsource it as a site, but you cannot buy it back. If you've spent all day on one single image post to put on social media, that's it. All of your day is shown in that one single post. So it's not something that you want to be wasting at all, and never overlook it. Never overlook where you can use your time more effectively. And implementing other other tools is going to massively help this. So I've mentioned a few times on this podcast, I love using AI to help me streamline my writing because I'm not necessarily a writer. Now, what I have noticed since using it, I've been using it for some time now. Since using it, my writing's gotten better naturally because I'm seeing what better writing looks like. But if I had to, for example, come up with every single title, every single description, every single podcast prompt script, every single thing that I was coming up with, if I had to write all of that myself, I'd probably lose roughly about 10 to 20 hours a week because I'd overthink it. I'd keep searching for keywords. I'd keep finding, oh, I've missed this section here, so now I need to go back and write it. Or I've missed out a word here, so I need to go back and write it. I'd be trying to think of captivating words. I'd be rereading and rereading and rereading. And it just wouldn't be beneficial. It would not be beneficial for me to be doing that. And I'm not currently in the position where I can outsource it to a copywriter or where I can outsource to have sort of things like timestamps and somebody going through it and writing out exactly what I need them to do. So if I'm not in that position, and you're not in that position, AI is the perfect tool to resolve that because it's just going to allow you to free up. It's going to free up hours. If you're posting at the rate, so I post on every major platform and I post minimum once a day, usually two times a day, as well as the likes of the podcast that goes on multiple platforms. If I had to write everything myself, it would there'd be no benefit to it because my results would more than likely be worse than what AI is going to give me. And I'm not learning the skill that I want to learn. I don't want to learn how to write descriptions and write copy for social media pages, other than a few sort of captivating titles that are going to bring in more views. That's not the skill I'm trying to learn. So there's not really a massive benefit for me doing it. Whereas if I was creating a video and I was using a new bit of software or I was implementing a few new techniques, that's different because I'm a video editor and that's where I want to be. So I completely understand the copywriters out there, especially, may not be as for AI, particularly the likes of ChatGPT, as I am. But I still believe if you spoke to majority of them, they would be implementing it or they should be implementing it in some way, even if it's just a template, even if it's coming up with a list of prospects, even if it's just giving you a list of words that you can use and it's improving your vocabulary. There's always going to be a way that you can implement that into your business that's going to have some sort of benefit. If it saves you 10 minutes a day, that's still an hour a week that you could then use to grow your business. And once you start using it in one angle, you'll realize multiple angles that you could use. So AI, especially coming the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, is only going to get better and more impactful for business owners. So start doing it now, start saving your time now, and adapt it even more as your business grows as well. So, a solution you can actually implement today when it comes to prioritizing your tasks is spend the night before writing down the tasks you would like to get done that day. Write them out. You can put them into different categories. You could put them into the creation side. You could put them into the growth side. You could put them into engagement side. However, you're growing the business, even if you wanted to put review time in there, write every single aspect of your business down on a single piece of paper and try and categorize them. And then try and put them in priority order. What is going to have the biggest impact? And also time investment. So if it's going to have the biggest impact and it's the smallest time investment, it only makes sense to get that done first. It only makes time for you to do that task first because it's number one on the priority and it's the bottom of the list when it comes to the time investment. And keep doing that until you build up a bit of a routine for yourself. You'll build up a routine of what you like to do first. So me, again, personally, I like to post first on the likes of X. I like to do my Instagram stories first because they're sort of I say minimal effort. They're sort of low effort because I do it ahead of time. But it's just those small little wins. I've already posted content. I've been up for less than an hour and I've already posted content. Then I like to follow up with clients. Then I also like to engage on social media, so I'm speaking to people within my niche. So there's certain tasks that I'll do within the first hour to an hour and a half of me being awake because I know they're done. They might not necessarily be done for the day because in terms of following up with clients, I might have 30 follow-ups to send that day, but I'll at least do 5 or 10. So I think, okay, I've started that task. In terms of posting, I post multiple times a day on Instagram stories and X. So it might not be done for the day, but I've done my initial one. I've started the flow of that workload. And as I say, the more and more you do this, you'll build up what works best for you and you'll build up a bit of a rhythm to what you can do every single day to the actual point where it just becomes a habit. So those tasks that you might have forgot to do, such as posting, such as reaching out to clients, such as engaging with potential prospects or people within your niche, all of those tasks that you might have forgot to do, you've built them into a system. So now the first hour to 3 hours that you're up, you've done them. They're now sorted. You can almost put them to the back of your mind and move on to other crucial areas of your business, other factors really that could have a much higher impact, but you just never get the time to do them because you're focusing on other areas or the more time consuming areas. So for myself, it's video editing. So as I've mentioned before, I've got an 9 to 5. So majority of the time, I do my video editing on my break and when I get home, and any little bits I can in between the day, which isn't the greatest because it means that I'm only sort of partially focused on the task at hand. And I've noticed when I sit and only video edit compared to jumping in and out of tasks, I get it done a lot better. I get it done a lot faster and I'm in that rhythm of video editing then. So if I say to myself, I've got 3 shorts to do, 3 short videos to do, and I give all 3 of them X amount of time to complete them, I can get them done in quick succession because I've got that state of mind that I'm video editing. I've got the state of mind of what the hook's going to be, where am I clipping, what's the message I want to put across, what music goes well with this, what's the vote. I have it all in my head because I'm already in that mind frame. Exactly the same as if you're reaching out to different clients. You'll pick up after your first 2, 3, maybe 4 messages. Okay, where's their problem? How can I help them? What do I need to send them to grab their attention? What value can I give them there and then? And do I want them to jump on a call or do I want to give them something else that they can potentially benefit from? You've got that mindset in place. And that's the biggest key that comes from batching your tasks and putting them in a chronological order or priority order. Is you start to build up that mindset every time you step into doing that task. Every time I step into post on X, I've got that mindset on. Every time I'm creating a video, I've got that mindset on. Every single time I'm looking at my systems, that can be a very nitty gritty sort of task to take on because if I've already got a system in place where I'm looking to improve it, but after sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes of me spending time separating everything, I realise, oh, okay, this needs improving. Because you put that hat on, you put that mindset on of I need to do this next. So you want to constantly be looking at blocking your tasks and building that system, building that routine. So you're in a flow state. You just do task, done. Move on to your next big thing, or go to work, or have a 5 minute break, whatever it is that you do on your day to day. But bulking is going to just massively, massively improve the impact and the speed that you get tasks done. This is where we move on to the viewer questions. Now, again, as it stands at the moment, I've not had anything come in through any of you guys, any of the viewers on my social media account. So I'll just shout it out again. If you do want to have any of your questions answered, ping them over to me at CR Video Editor. You'll find that across all major platforms. Or better yet, head to my website at crvideoeditor.com. You'll find a link to all of my social media accounts there, as well as my email address. Shoot me any question that you have, any topics, and as always, include any social media accounts that you'd like shouted out on there. I'll read out your question, read out your social media accounts, and then answer the question. So again, this time round, I've gone to our good old friend AI, and these are some of the questions that it's generated for me. First one is, how do you deal with distractions during work hours? Now, at the very beginning, I suffered majorly with this, especially when it come to finding overlays. So again, I'll focus on the video editing side. When it come to overlays and finding certain images or certain B-roll footage that suited what the speaker was talking about, I would get distracted for, it could be a few hours, for a multiple of reasons. One, I could be jumping onto something like YouTube to find a certain clip, and we all know what YouTube can be like. If you're not going on there with precision, exactly knowing what you're looking for, grabbing it and jumping off, it can be a nightmare for you. And also because I think a lot of the time I had made up a certain footage in my head, so I knew exactly to the T what I was looking for, and I wouldn't be flexible enough to not find that exact clip, but find something similar. I wouldn't do that. So I'd spend, say, an hour, 2 hours looking for a certain bit of footage. It wouldn't exist. And then I'd have to settle for something else anyway. And that used to cost me so much time. It was unbelievable, to the point where I'd spend 3 hours on one short video and be looking, thinking, I've just spent 3 hours on a 30-second clip, and all that literally was for the B-roll. I haven't even picked the music yet. I haven't done any of the subtitles. I've done nothing else. I've just literally done the visual side of things. And how I overcame that was, I'd have a big part of this was AI. I actually started to use AI to generate video clips for me and put them into certain topics. I also went onto YouTube and started copy and pasting certain links that would be under a certain category, should I say. So if it was motivational, it'd be under motivational. If it was the gym, it would be under the gym. If it was writing on a laptop, it'd be writing on a laptop. And then there was a few other tools that I started to add as well. And this just helped me not overthink. Another big area was, every single time I was coming out my video editing software to look for some sort of overlay or B-roll footage, I'd clock the time. So if it was, say, 3:05, I'd say, right, at 3:10, I'm going back into the editing. So I either find something or I don't. I've got to make do. And that almost caused a state of panic where, if there was a 3-minute YouTube video that I thought might have a clip that I can use, and I was scanning through it, I'd literally scan through it. I wouldn't watch the whole 3-minute video or the whole 10-minute video. I'd scan through, I'd find part, if it was there, that I wanted to use, and I'd take it from there. So I know implementing that time restriction for me was massive, and then also reducing the amount of, or reducing the opportunities where I'd go onto a different platform. So I try and keep everything within my software, trying to keep everything within either my phone or my laptop. So I didn't have to go jumping around to these different distractions. I could stay in the one place and just grab the sample from there, put it there, grab the sample from there, put it there. So that was my biggest improvement, was finding the tools and reducing the risk of me having to go to other places. I could just stay in workflow and just work straight through until it was done. Question number 2, generated by AI, was, what's your go-to method for managing your weekly schedule? So in terms of weekly schedule, when it comes to content, I would plan that out in advance. I've got spreadsheets, and I use platforms, sort of inbuilt scheduling systems like YouTube, Rumble, Spotify. I schedule it all pretty much as soon as I've completed it. So each week I might have X amount of videos that I've made, and I'll schedule it in straight from there. I have my daily checklists, which don't tend to change too much, as I say, with those repetitive sort of actions, in the sense of, when it comes to posting content, that's always going to be a daily thing. When it comes to speaking to clients, it's always going to be a daily thing. The weekly schedule only tends to change if certain things come in. So if I've got a client work that needs to be done by this date, I'll add that onto the priority list. So how I do it is, I'll have, say, 5 to 6 sections of daily tasks. So it might be something like post to X, post to Instagram, post to TikTok, send X amount of DMs, write X amount of prompts or scripts or something like that, make some videos, post in Telegram. Those, they might all come under the same bulk or batch of actions. Then directly underneath that, it will be 1 hour XYZ task. So as I say, it could be client content, it could be I've got a call at a certain time, it could be that I'm meeting somebody, so I've got a meeting, could be multiple things like that. So that's the only time it will change. So 99% of the time, I'll have my daily checklist that I'll complete every single day. And then when the big priorities come in, when the big, as I say, when the big client work comes in, those sorts of things, I'll slot them in there and then. So it's good to know exactly what you need to do each day. And then if something different comes up, for example, with my podcast, I tend to record, and then there'll be a certain time where I'm editing. Then when I edit, I'll edit the clips. When I edit the clips, I'll edit the shorts. So when I'm doing that, that might slot into a certain space after I've done my batch actions ultimately. So it's quite systematic in the sense of I'll it's action, 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 action. They're all daily actions, and then there might be a one-off action that comes next. Because I've done that big bulk of actions now. That's all been sort of checked off. Now I can spend an hour, 2 hours doing this set task, just this set task. Then I'll go back to the bulk actions again. So post, 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 engage, send messages, that sort of thing. And then I'll go back to my actions. So you don't necessarily have to have a weekly schedule unless that's how you work best, unless your actions are going to change on a week by week basis. But mine's mainly a day by day basis at the moment. So that's what works best for me. And just implementing the bulk actions, priority actions, bulk actions, priority actions, and that's worked for me so far. And the final question generated by AI is, how do you stay motivated to stick to your time management plans? So I'm the wrong person to ask this question to, because I don't believe in motivation in any way, shape, or form. I just know it needs to be done. I have missed tasks multiple times throughout my journey that and I felt bad about doing it. I felt bad about not doing it. I felt like crap because I've not done anywhere near as much work as what I should have that day. I still have days like that. I remember that feeling. I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling so much that I'd rather just stick to the task and get it done. And it's as I say, when you start your day off by doing a load of small tasks but impactful tasks, when you started your day by posting across 6 platforms and sending messages to 10 people, engaging with 20 accounts, when you've done something like that within the first hour of you being up, you've already started winning, you've already built that momentum, and you've already done more than what majority of people are willing to do to get to where they want to get to. So it's almost like, well, I've done that. Why am I not going to carry on doing more? Why am I not going to stick to my tasks? Why am I not going to focus on doing it? Because if I don't do it, nobody else is going to come and do it for me. I'm not at the point where I can outsource. AI isn't smart enough to do all of this for me yet. I need to just do it. And if I don't do it, I'm going to have to do it at some point. So in terms of staying motivated, that doesn't work for me. It is that discipline factor. It is just simply knowing what I need to do and knowing it needs to get done. If I don't do it, I'm going to have to do it. So why would I not just do it straight away and make it easier on myself? Uh, And then, as I say, I'll do all of my tasks. I'll do all of my bulk tasks, my priority tasks. I'll get to the end of the day, sort of like my bonus tasks. And a lot of the time, that's either planning for the next day or improving certain systems. And that's why I've seen so many sort of areas of improvement so, in a relatively decent period of time, is because it's just complete, 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 complete. Okay, look where I can improve. So there's always something to be done. So don't look at it as a motivational task. Look at it as, if you don't do it, you're either gonna have to do it, or that's it. There's no or. You just have to do it. Are you gonna do it now, or are you gonna do it later? If you do it later, is it gonna impact the rest of your day? If it's gonna impact the rest of your day, you may as well do it now. Again, what I'd love to be doing right now is shouting out some of your guys' wins of the week. I'd love to be saying you've earned X amount of money, or you implemented this system or that system into your business model. Unfortunately, again, as it stands, I've not had anything sent over to me. So if you would like your wins mentioned here, and it can be anything you're proud of, any way, shape, or form, ping it over to CR Video Editor. That's across all major platforms, or visit my website at crvideoeditor.com. You'll have links to all of my socials there and email address. Send me over your win, send me over your name, send me over a little story to do with your win. And as always, any social media accounts you would like mentioned on the podcast, I will include them in the description below as well. I'm really, really hoping to get the ball rolling with this one, because I want to hear what you guys are doing. I want to hear what you guys are proud of. And I want to give you a bit of praise myself, because I know how hard it can be. And I know just having a little bit of a backing from, even from just a stranger, even just a little pat on the back from somebody you don't know, can give you a huge boost and a huge sort of, it's it's good for your ego, and that's what we're all about. We want to build that community of we all win together, and when people win, we celebrate it. So get them sent over as soon as you can, and we can start doing the win of the week. The second I get the first one, so you can make your debut by sending them over to me now. Along with shouting you guys out with the win of the week, I also will mention this week's tip of the week. And I've touched on it a few times during this episode, but I really want to hone in on batch completing your tasks, because it just makes things so much easier to do, especially if it's the same task. So, for example, as I've mentioned, if I am doing video editing and I've got 6 edits to do that day, I am going to get them done a lot faster, a lot better quality, and just a lot more efficiently completed if I do all 6 in a row, because you've got the mindset of what you're doing. You're already in that zone of I'm editing videos, so I'm going to do it this way. I also know it's the same when it comes to prospecting. When I'm creating a prospect list, I always find that it's much easier for me to do something like that if I have a set hour or 2 hours where I'm only focusing on finding people I can offer my services to. Same with client work, same with any other work. As soon as you've got one, you may as well do two. So I know when I'm creating my own content, I pretty much refuse to just record a single video unless it's for a story or for my Telegram channel. I will pretty much refuse to just do one recording. It's always going to be a minimum of 10 or 20, or I think in some cases I've done 60 in a day, because I'm already in that mindset. I've already spoken so many words. I've already got the confidence once I've got the first few video recordings done, especially when you're doing them in small little snippets. I've already built up that confidence. So why would I not just continue? Just continue. And then if I've done 60 in a day, that could be, that could be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months worth of content for you that you can just then focus on editing. And what it also allows you to do is if you've recorded 60 pieces of content, you could now potentially edit 20 pieces of content over a week's period. Now you've just made 2 weeks, so let's say 2 months worth of content. If you're posting a video a day, just made 2 months worth of content in 2 days, all because you just bulked it. So it has a massive, massive improvement across multiple aspects of the business. And I'd highly, highly encourage for you to just start. If you've got one task that you don't like doing, it takes you ages to get everything set up, or you feel really uncomfortable doing it, so you end up putting it off and putting it off, and then it doesn't get done that day and pushed on to the next day. I'd highly encourage you to start bulk recording or bulk batching those sorts of tasks as soon as possible, because you'll find, even if you do it each week, even if you said to yourself every Sunday at 5 o'clock I'm going to record 7 videos, then every Sunday at 8 o'clock I'm going to edit all 7 of those videos, and there's your video content done for the week. Same with your messages. Every single Monday at 7 o'clock after a long day, I'm going to sit there for 3 hours and I'm going to find 70 prospects, and I'm going to message 10 people every single day. You'll build those systems up really, really quickly, and especially when you stick to that routine. So yeah, I'll keep encouraging you guys to find the tasks that you just, even if it's tasks that you like doing, it might be better to start off with those, but find tasks and find a way where you can bulk complete them, because you'll also feel so far ahead, and it'll give you so much more leeway in terms of time that you can do the same across all aspects of the business then. When I look back in terms of time management and prioritizing tasks, I see so many benefits that I wish I knew at the very beginning, but I had to learn them. I had to learn, and I had to waste that time, and I had to not prioritize those certain tasks in order to get to this position now. So if you find yourself looking, thinking, oh, I've wasted time here and I've wasted time here, it's fine, because I know every business has done it. You're not going to run your business as efficiently as possible from the beginning, especially if you've got no experience in it. But what I would say is, as soon as you identify it and as soon as you have found out a way where you can improve it, get it implemented as soon as possible. Get it implemented, because now So since I started implementing these systems, I'm now roughly a month ahead in certain bits of my content. In fact, in certain areas of my content on certain platforms, I'm potentially 3, 4, 6 months ahead in terms of what I have. And what this allows me to do is this allows me to invest more time into areas I'm not as confident with. So, in terms of recording in front of the camera, at the very beginning, I didn't like doing it, and I did only do one video and then edit it, on one video, then edit it. Then I realised where I was making a mistake. So I started to bulk it. Then, when I had bulked 60 videos in a day, I realised how far ahead that put me. So I thought, okay, well, now I can start implementing other aspects of my content. Now I can start implementing this in other areas of reaching out to people. So when I start prospecting, I used to prospect 10 people and send 10 DMs, and prospect 10 people and then send 10 DMs. And that whole action, or that whole task of prospecting and sending DMs, could take me 2 hours between the two of them. But as soon as I started batching it together, of batching the prospecting, I could get 70 people in 2 hours. And then when it comes to the sending the messages, I can send 10 messages every single day, and each message might take me 20 minutes to half hour, depending on how well I've prospected them in the beginning. So it's just put me in a position where now I can take on a client tomorrow and I'm well set up in terms of my content, in terms of how I'm going to be reaching out to other clients whilst I've got that client. And it just means I can over deliver. And the best thing you can do is say to your client, yeah, I can get that done for you in the next 48 to 72 hours, and you do it from in 24 hours. Because they're going to realize that you don't mess about. They're going to realize that you're a professional guy, or you're a professional business owner. You've over delivered for them straight away, and they're going to like that, especially when they've had experiences with other editors or with other copywriters or with other business owners and it's not gone as well. They're going to remember those good experiences. And I'm not saying you have to bulk complete your tasks in order to do that, but it puts you in a much better position. It relieves the stress of, oh, I need to do this and this and this and this and this. It's like, no, I've done that for the month, I've done that for the month, I've done that for the month, right, time to focus on that. It's a massive, massive benefit that you can start doing literally today. You could sit down in front of the camera and just record yourself 30 times, then sit down in front of your laptop or on your phone and edit it 30 times. And you have just done a month's worth of content, and I'd argue anybody can do that in 2 days. So now that you understand how to master your own time management and exactly how you can prioritize your own task list in set order and get them completed as fast, efficiently, and to a higher quality as possible, what do you do if you're putting all of these in place and you're getting your jobs done every single day without fail, but you're just not seeing the results? You keep going, you keep pushing, but you're not seeing the results. What are you meant to do? Well, this is where that keyword of resilience comes into play. So, if you would like to learn exactly how you can build your resilience daily through doing these tasks, and how you can create your own unstoppable power within your business through the art of resilience, then tune in to next week's episode where we'll be deep diving into that and finding out just what components make up resilience and how you can amplify them on a daily basis to just make them even more impactful for yourself. Following that, any questions, any topics, and of course, any wins that you guys have, ping them over to me at CR Video Editor. You'll find that across all major platforms, or visit my website at crvideoeditor.com. You'll find the link to everything there, as well as the link to the latest episode of this podcast. Until next time, I've been Callum Richards, and you've been watching the Real Journey podcast.